Okay, now it is recording. So how do we ace our data gathering through survey method? The first thing that we need to be familiar with is that survey is always rooted with our research objectives. But what is survey? Survey, it provides us numeric description of events, trends, attitudes, or opinion of a population through a sample. Let me give you an example. Last semester, how do you find the difficulty level of my subject? Be honest. You can use the chat box. How do you find the difficulty level of my subject? One is just normal. Seven is very difficult. On that range, uh, how do you find the difficulty of my subject? You can use the chat box now. You can now type your response. One is just normal, and then seven is the most difficult. Yeah, this is just a data gathering. No need to no need to hid yourself. You can use the chat box. Wait. Okay, you can now type in the chat box. Sorry. Go. So let's assume that we are doing a survey. One is just normal, seven is the most difficult. Okay. No need to message me privately. Just message everyone. Okay. Someone messaged me five. Okay. How about the others? Five. Okay. May nagsabing three. Okay. May nagsabing four. Okay. So, what I'm doing right now is that I am quantifying. Okay. I am quantifying your responses. Therefore, this may not be the formal survey that we know, but you are giving me an idea, okay, about your attitude towards my subject. So, say for example, a student messaged me seven. That gives me an idea that that student has a very difficult situation on my subject. And as for me as a teacher and as a researcher, it's okay because you gave me an idea and it gives me output to do. Just like what I'm asking you during the previous defense. What output can you provide? Now, so this is how we do survey. Now, in qualitative research, what do we do? Okay, anyone can answer. In qualitative research, what do we do to get most of our data? Anyone? Hmm. What do we do to get most of our data in? Yes, Mr. Taniedo.
We interview our respondents.
Yes, we do formal or informal interview, we do formal observation or informal observation, and we use our transcription or writings. So that is how we do in qualitative data gathering. In research, when we use descriptive research, mostly we are using survey design or what we call the Likert survey or the Likert survey, in which it is characterized as an instrument that has that uses numerical representation of the value that it is being represented. So, halimbawa, how is your breakfast today? 1 to 5. How good is your breakfast today? So if you answer 5, therefore I'm thinking if 5 is the very best, therefore I'm thinking that you might be having a buffet breakfast because you give me an idea that it is the number that represents you right now. So now, we need also to understand that, okay, in survey design, we use the following. According to Alford in 2011, he detailed the following regarding survey research. So we have survey method in which it is the questionnaire and the interview. So in the interview, we use it most of the time in qualitative, but we can also use it in descriptive research. We sometimes use this interview method or interview data to support the numerical value of our responses. O halimbawa, someone told you that someone answered that he or she is 7 in my subject. Therefore, privately I may schedule a Zoom meeting with him or her so that I can ask him or her, why do you think my subject is difficult? So it will support, okay? It will support the data. Now, uh, Questionnaire, on the other hand, questionnaire, it allows us to see, using paper and pencil, the responses of the respondents through numerical data. Okay, so do we have question on this, on the survey method? Are you familiar of what we will be doing now? Anyone? Or use the thumbs up button. Are you familiar with what we will be doing now? When we say like Kurt, when we say interview questions, okay? Okay, so some are still not in responding on my question, but because of this survey, we will be having an idea on how to gather our data. Question, okay? Now, let us now go to how will we write our survey. Yan. Let us ask ourselves first, what survey are we doing? Description. The first type is description. Income, age, and the like. Is this your dependent or independent variable? Anyone? You can unmute yourself. Is this your dependent or independent variable? Ito nasa description part. Nasa ang variable box yan. Yung age, yung socioeconomic status, nasa ang nasa ang variable. Yes, Mr. Morin.
Sir, independent.
Good. It is in the independent variable part. That is sex, that is age, that is grade level, that is strand. Mr. Morin, can you give an independent variable that was not mentioned? Do you have other independent variables na hindi na mention or na mention na?
Sex po.
Okay, we have the sex slash or gender. Okay. So, the second one is behavior. Yan. Info about respondents' behavior. Mode of transportation, academic dishonesty, halimbawa, your attitude towards, attitude towards online learning today. Behavior. O kaya naman, pag sinabi naman nating preference, ito yung level of. Ano ba yung mga level of ninyo? O sige nga, can I ask you about your dependent variable? What will you measure in your dependent variable? Can I ask Miss Esteves? Miss Esteves, what will you measure in your dependent variable?
We will measure the skills and identify the state of flexibility, of
Yan.
performance,
Yes, correct.
permeability of roles,
Yan.
and mental disposition.
Okay, which do you think will it fall? Under behavior or the preference? Which do you think will it fall? Yung flexibility, yung permeability,
Sir, I believe it to be preference.
will it fall under preference or more on behavior type?
Behavior.
Yes, correct. So, you need to know, okay, thank you, Ms. Esteves. You need to know what will you measure. So, let's start. So, the thing that we need to avoid in questionnaire is this. The first one is sampling error. Sometimes we try to write questionnaire that has a highfalutin level of in terms of grammar or in terms of language that we are using, in which this language or this grammar or this construction thing can be misinterpreted by your respondents. Okay, so you need to consider first your sample. How representative is the group being surveyed? Paano mo ba sila survey? Oh, will you use phone call? Will you use Gmail? Will you use Google Form? Will you use face-to-face survey using paper and pencil? Oh, you can answer by unmuting yourself. What do you think is the most practical to use in the survey now? What do you think in this kind of pandemic? Your group, what will you use as mode of data collection? Hmm. Sige, mag-unmute lang. You can unmute yourself. No worries.
Google Forms po.
Okay, someone will be using Google Form. Pwede rin nyo rin gamitin a Mentimeter kung live ang inyong pagpapasurvey. Pwede kayong gumawa ng Loodle. Okay? Yung website na yun, ituturo ko sa inyo yon in the next coming days para hindi kayo mahirapan. Okay? Another one is frame error. How accurate is the list which respondents are drawn? Oh, sige nga, tatanungin ko kayo. How many respondents will you collect now? After using Kredji and Morgan table, how many respondents, sample na ito ha, how many respondents are you going to collect now? Sige nga, unmute yourself. Hmm. Ilan na ang respondents ninyong kokolektahin? Around what approximation? Anyone? Sige nga, can we Miss De Vera, Chrysaline, do you have any idea how many will you collect now? Around what approximation?
Sir, approximately 152 students based on the
150.
table.
Yan, correct. So you need to have your frame error. How about kung magkapareho lang ng groupings, ng group, sabihin nyo lang ha kung nakapagsagot na. How about Clarice? What is your frame? Miss Clarice, are you here?
Sir, wala pa din pong
But what
inform
what
about.
is your approximation? Because as technically you know your environment, you know your population, how big the population is. So what is your approximation? Around
Around mga 50.
okay, around 50, because in the study of Laris they will be using purposive sampling regarding the parents of a globally challenged individual. Is my memory correct, Miss Laris?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So you need to know your what do you call this? Your the population and at the same time the sample. Selection error, yan, diyan papasok si random sampling, nag-draw lots ka ba? Or dahil maliit because the population is just small, say for example 70, you decided to collect the whole 70. So sometimes there are selection error. So this is just commonly or frequently committed mistake of researchers. Ano yung frequently committed mistake ni researcher? Minsan ang kanyang respondents ay hindi naman talaga yung nakukuha niyang sample hindi naman nagre-represent doon sa population. Okay? Let us say good morning to Miss Havido. I think Miss Havido is here. Good morning, Miss Havido. Okay. So, we also have uh, measurement error. Is the questionnaire valid and reliable? We will talk about it come January. But the thing that we need to finish in this week is the creation of your survey. So, measurement error and then the non-response error. Ito rin yung madalas na mistake ng mga researcher kasi sila ay nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na non-response error. Ito naman minsan ay dalawang bagay. Una, yung mga blanco dun sa questionnaire. Ano ba ginagawa? I've read a material na pag tinabulate mo raw yung isa, limbawa sa response, okay? And then you saw a blank response. There are some researchers na nilalagay na instead of putting 0 in the tabulation, they put negative zero point 0.9, negative zero point 0.9 or negative 0.99. So, that is to para lang hindi mablangko o hindi magkaroon ng void dun sa tabulation niya. Okay? Yung iba naman, nilalagyan talaga nila ng 0. The second concern there is the non-response error, the generalizability. Remember the rule, the bigger the sample, the better. Okay? The bigger the sample size, the better because it increases the chance of generalizing the data, extending the data from your sample to the population it is representing. So, dapat talaga, alam mo, you need to know what is the maximum approximation of your sample. So halimbawa, you have a population of 120 and then nagsabi sa Craigie and Morgan table 50, you need to decide as a researcher, will you get the 50 or will you get the 100 plus? If you find it convenient for you to get the 120 plus, so that it will not affect the power of the data to generalize, then you can go on it. Okay, so those are some practices, recommended practices, so that we can minimize the non-response error. These are the common mistakes in doing questionnaire. Okay, so lahat yan ay mararamdaman ninyo kapag kayo na ay nagtatabulate. Okay, now another one is when you write questionnaire, you need to know the purpose of your study. So Bob, you will go back to the first question during the defense. What is your study all about and what are the objectives of it? In every defense, it starts like that because it puts every listeners to to where the research will be going. Every researcher must embrace the purpose and or the objective of the study because that is your force on doing your research study. Okay, go back to research objective and research questions, and then what do you want to measure? This is the threefold step in doing your questionnaire. Oh, print screen ninyo. Okay, you print screen and then you thumbs up, you print screen and then you thumbs up. Thank you. Now, okay. Now, let's go to the sample. Okay, pwede kayo mag-print screen dito ha. Example, these are the research objectives. To measure the extent of motivation among students in participating on the online class. Sige nga, students, ano ang i-measure natin? What will we measure in the first objective? You can unmute yourself. What will we measure? Anyone? Sige, sino sasagot? Anong i-measure sa number 1? Can we have... Yes, Mr. Guarin?
Extent of motivation po.
Okay, correct. If I will do the same question in number 2, what we will be measuring in number 2? Ano i-measure natin sa number 2? Can I have can we have Miss Rayos? Miss Rayos, ano ang ating i-measure sa number 2? Is Miss Rayos here? Okay. Can we have Miss Torio? Miss Torio, what shall we measure in number 2?
Sir, the extent of implementation of the online learning program.
Okay, correct. So, the extent of implementation of the online learning program. So, yun ang ating measure. Ibig sabihin, itong dalawang objective na ito yung gagawa natin ng mga statements or survey o yung part ng ating survey. So, paano gagawin natin? So, using the objectives, you need to know your respondents, you need to consider your data collection method, and you need to know what scale you will be doing. Now, let me ask you a question. Who do you think will be our most possible respondents? Sige nga, ano yung exact characteristic ng ating mga magiging respondent? Anyone? Anyone from the class?
Sir, the teachers.
Teachers ba? Ang nakalagay?
Students, sir.
Ayan, student. Okay. Ano yung karakteristik? Ano yung karakteristik ng mga student na ito? Anong uri ng student dapat ang iyong kunin? Ano yung dapat na meron sila? Halimbawa, the students. Every student can participate. But what makes these students as respondents very exact? Ano dapat? They must be doing what? Yes, Mr. Nolan?
Yung sir yung nagpa-participating in online class.
Yes, correct. Therefore, students who are exclusively participating in an online class. Why? Because it is clearly highlighted uh, in the ang tawag to? In the objective of your research study. Now, where do you think the research will happen? Where do you think the research will happen? Oh, saan kaya gaganapin yung research, Miss Esteves?
It will happen for school ABC.
Okay, correct. It will happen in school ABC. Therefore, you need to consider those things. Okay? Now, understand that physical appearance of the questionnaire affects response rate. Totoo yan. Okay? Ang questionnaire mo, yung itsura ng questionnaire, nakaka-apekto. Halimbawa, sa paper and pencil questionnaire. Kapag yung questionnaire mo ay 5 pages, tapos singular column lang siya, as in the whole paper is filled with text and columns, nakakabagot sagutan. Nakakatamad, lalo't-lalo na kung 5 pages ito, puro open-ended response pa. O yung survey na tinatawag na parang essay type. Therefore, anong ginagawa ng mga researcher para ma-simplify? As much as possible, they are using numerically constructed or numerically responded survey o yung 4321 or yung 654321. Kung mapapansin nyo, bakit ako hindi gumagamit ng 5 o ng 7 and the like? Usually kasi, meron tayong tinatawag na middle effect. You know what I mean when we say middle effect? Ano yung middle number ng 5? Sige nga. Sige, sagot. Unmute yourself. Ano ang middle number ng 5? Sa survey. Answer? Sige. Unmute.
3 po.
3. Usually, anong ginagawa ng mga respondent kapag may middle number? Anong experience niyo kapag kayo nagsasagot? Anong ginagawa nila? Usually they opt to go to number 3 or the middle response because usually the middle response is the neutral, the most neutral. Okay? And many respondents will tend to opt on the neutral part because that fits them. Okay? That is the most conventional. Ngayon, ang dapat nating gawin, i-eliminate siya as much as possible. That is why we are using 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ngayon, kung gusto mong mag-5, ang gagawin mo ay 5, 4, ganun pa rin, 4, 3, 2, 1, tapos maglagay ka ng 0. Okay? Kasi yung 0, no value sa survey. Pwede nyo gawin yon. Or lagay nyo NA, not applicable. Remember that the physical appearance of the questionnaire affects the behavior of your respondents. Avoid threatening questions, mamaya explain ko yan, and then simplify your instruction and then use plain language. Huwag kayong gagamit ng mga highfalutin jargons, okay? Huwag kayong gagamit ng mga terms na kung saan ay very, very difficult to be understood. Halimbawa, non-answering of the boxes in the survey is tantamount to the invalidation of the totality of your responses. So those things can be very confusing. What is the meaning of the word tantamount if your respondents are only grade 6, grade 7? Okay? So avoid highfalutin languages or highfalutin words. Now, so, match your question with your measurement scale. Match your question with your measurement scale. Punta kayo ngayon sa inyong objective. Tignan ninyo, level of effectiveness. Measure the effectiveness. Ano yung ano yung magiging number 4 mo kung ikaw ay may 1 to 4 scale? Ano magiging meaning ng number 4 mo kung ikaw ay may 4 scale? Sige nga, kung ang mini-measure mo ay level of effectiveness, ano yung magiging description mo sa number 4 kung may 1 to 4 kang scale? Sige nga. Oh, anyone? Let me give you an example. Pag 1 is not effective, okay? Not effective at all. Ano magiging number 4 mo? Ano pwede mong ilagay?
Very effective.
Pwede. Very effective. Another one. Kung ang ilalagay natin, ang measure natin ay the behavior, okay? The level of adjustment. Okay, pwede mong gamitin yung term na effective or applicable, highly applicable, highly suitable, not suitable at all. O kaya naman pag ang gamit mo ay frequency ang ginagamit mo, halimbawa I am using laptop always, sometimes, frequently, rarely. So, yun yung mga verbal description na tinatawag natin. Okay? Mga verbal description. So, I will be teaching you of it once you are done constructing your survey. But what I'll be doing here is let us put first ano ilalagay natin sa survey natin. Now, so look at your objectives and your variable boxes to measure the extent of motivation among students in participating on the online class. Tignan mo kung meron ka mga parameters. Again, we call this part as parameters. Okay, this part. We call this part as parameters. Okay? So, this part is very important, lalo't-lalo na kung iyan ay nakalagay sa inyong variable boxes. Okay? So, kung nakalagay yan sa variable box nyo, isa lang ibig sabihin. Kailangan ninyo siyang i-consider sa paggawa ng survey. Okay? O, magtanong tayo. Sige nga, ano-ano yung mga parameters na nasa variable box nyo? Sa may dependent variable. Sige nga, let me call in uh, Stevens. Stevens, can you unmute yourself? Can you say what are your parameters in your variable box?
Parameters in my variable box are flexibility, performance, mental disposition, and permeability.
Yan. Ibig sabihin, yung kay Stevens rather, uh, yung kanyang mga binanggit na apat, i-consider niya yon sa paggawa ng survey. Okay? So, let's continue. So, what shall we doing next is, yan. Remember, we will be using statements, not questions in our survey. Yan ang isa sa mga pinakamahalagang niyong tandaan. Okay? O, i-print screen nyo yan. Remember, we will be using statements, not questions in our survey. The goal is to allow our respondents to extend their connection or disconnection to the statement, their satisfaction or dissatisfaction to the statement. Okay? Statement ang gagamitin natin. Halimbawa, kay do sa research about sa mental disposition, I am comfortable in working online. That is a statement. Okay? I am comfortable in working online. So pag sinagot ko 1, not applicable. Pag sinagot ko 4, always. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin. Statements allow the respondents to connect or to express their connection or disconnection, their satisfaction or dissatisfaction towards the uh, responses or the survey statements. Okay? So, let us continue. So if you have 3 parameters Example, the cognitive, affective, social relatedness, just like here below. Then each parameter should contain sentences wherein the respondents may assess themselves. Okay? Wherein the respondents may assess themselves. So if I will be asking you to create 20 statements or 17 statements for your survey, you need to divide that 17 to 20 into how many parameters. O halimbawa, sabi ko gumawa kayo ng 18 sentences. May tatlo kang parameter. Ilang sentences kada parameter ang gagawin mo? O, ilan? Sagot? STEM? 18 ang pinapagawa ko halimbawa. Tapos may tatlo kang parameter. Tatlo. O, ilang sentences kada parameter ang gagawin mo? Sagot?
Sir, 6 questions
Okay.
per parameter.
Aldi, what's your answer, Aldi? Thank you, Mrs. Teves. Wala si Aldi. Okay, so we have 6 sentences per parameter. Okay? So yon. So example of it is, halimbawa, example, cognitive. Gawa tayo ng sentence para sa cognitive. It refers to your mind function and mental activity. Since this is about online classes, this is wrong. I can't understand the objectives of the lesson. That is a wrong statement in doing a survey. Why? In doing a survey, as much as possible, we want to be neutral. The statement should not be directly or leading the influence to the respondent. It should not spark a fire of bias uh, in the part of the researcher in writing the survey statements. Okay? Hindi siya dapat maging bias. So, ibig sabihin nun, dapat neutral ang statement na ibibigay mo. Kasi, kapag negative na yung statement, tapos meron ka pang response na very negative, that will be a double negative statement. Okay? So, as much as possible, be neutral. So, instead of writing, I can't understand the objectives of the lessons, you can just say the lesson may be confusing for me. Okay? The lessons may be confusing for me. Oh. So pag sinabi mong 1 is not at all, number 4 is always. Okay? So the lessons may be confusing for me. Another one. Aldi, can you mute your phone? Thank you. So we have another one is the lesson is difficult and no one is learning from it. This is a very wrong statement because there is already an assumption, okay? There is already a bias assumption from the researcher. So instead of, you can actually divide it into 2 sentences. The first one is I find the lessons difficult. I find the lessons difficult. This is not a negative statement. Okay, I find the lessons difficult. And then the lessons can be difficult to all types of learner. Instead of saying no one is learning from it. Okay? So your statement should be not containing negative statement. Itong dalawa, the lesson is difficult and no one is learning from it. This is a double-barreled statement. Ibig sabihin, you try to compress 2 concepts, okay, 2 difficult concepts into one, and then the responses coming from the respondents can be leading. Okay? So dapat we need to consider what to put in writing survey. Okay? So let us remove first the annotation. Now, so what are the things that we must consider? We must always remember. We need to prevent the use of ambiguous questions. These are questions that can be interpreted in 2 or more ways that may give the researcher the wrong response to his problem. Katulad kanina, no one is learning from it and it is difficult. That is ambiguous. Okay? In the example here, how many times you visited or talked to a guidance counselor. Okay? You visited or talked. So iba ang situation kapag nag-visit ka lang, dumaan ka lang, and then you actually talk to a guidance counselor. So you need to avoid this. Another one is the double negative response. Do you find it difficult to understand AP subjects because of unfamiliar topics? Okay, so these are double negative responses, just like on the first example earlier. Okay, and another one is how will you rate the technological integration in your AP subject and the relevance of social issues in your lesson? This is a double-barreled question. Magkaiba sila. Okay? It's two different thing and two different concept, but you try to integrate it into one. And then we have the leading question. This book is the best book in the United States and we evaluate this book. How will you rate its effectiveness? Paano siya naging leading? Siyempre, kung sinabi mo na sa unang sentence mo na effective, siyempre, kahit hindi pa natatry yan ng respondent, they will try to look at it as effective. Okay? So, that's how we do survey. Now, I'll be showing you a real survey. Okay? Here, I think you're familiar with the survey because during your breaks, I asked you to answer this. Okay? So, here, this sample survey shows how do we write survey in relation to our research problem. So the first one is the respondent's profile, the independent variable. Uunahin mong ilagay yan dyan. Okay? Kung gusto nyo pala ng guide ng survey, just click on the link that your advisor shared to you for this questionnaire and you can have it as a guide. Okay? And then, independent variable, and then just add section. Mag-add kayo ng section, and then, ito na siya. Objective 1. Because this is the first parameter. Assessment of the program implementation. So the first parameter is course content and structure. So I write statements about course content and structure. Yan. Sumulat ako ng ilan para sa course content. 5. Okay, or 6. And then we have for the faculty, the second parameter. And then we have the third parameter, which is teaching instruction. So may statements for teaching instruction. And then we also have parameter for assessment. So we have how many parameters here? We have assessment, teaching instruction, faculty, and course content. How many parameters ang meron tayo for program implementation? We have we have 4. Okay, we have 4. And then for the second one, we have the second objective, the student motivation in the online classroom. We have 3. We have cognitive presence. Ayan. Okay, and we have social readiness, and we have affective concerns. Ayan. So ito naman yung perception response regarding variables on grades and do you study even after class. So that's how you do your questionnaire. So, do you have any questions on that?